Today, the New Brunswick government announced that they're going to start making their own beer.
Is that right?
They've announced it, they've unveiled it, just so that people don't go to Quebec to buy cheap beer.
Yeah.
The New Brunswick government's going to do it. Now, when real life starts parodying itself, like, is that just too easy, or?
It's hard to keep ahead, isn't it, as a comedian? What do I find funny about that? That you're going to buy more expensive beer in New Brunswick, more expensive government beer in New Brunswick. First thing is, man, the beer is going to taste lousy in New Brunswick from now on, because it's government, not that it's New Brunswick. I mean, oh man, that's going to be awful. And the reason is because they don't want to go to Quebec to buy cheaper beer.
They're trying to keep it, they're trying to keep the revenue somehow in the province.
No, they're trying to keep the revenue in the government of the province, because it's the government that's making the profits off the people. Yeah, apparently there was Erwin Barker had a line about the casinos and the government saying that they did a study, and apparently they found people had some loose change in their pockets. I think that's what's going on, isn't it? The government wants more money from the people, but from the alcoholics of New Brunswick, of which there are a lot, and they've gotten into the beer business. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. At first I heard of that story, but yeah.
What's called selection? That's the name of the beer.
Selection?
Yes.
Like natural selection, like Darwinism?
What I heard was it's selection time.
Man, that's got to be a government beer. That's got to be a government name, man. Give me another selection. Ooh.
There was another question back here.
Got to be a committee thought of that name.
Sorry.
A selection.
Just come up. Sorry.
Yeah, cord's a little short there.
Yeah.
Don't want to get in the way of the camera. You've been traveling all over Canada for many years and performing in every province and, should I assume, every territory as well?
Yeah.
Okay. You always make an effort to get to know your audience everywhere you go, and I was wondering, is there any part of Canada that you've never visited, never performed in, that you'd like to visit and get to know better?
I'd like to do more shows in French in Quebec and in New Brunswick, mainly. But I would like to have a French show together. Just because there's an interesting thing that goes on when you translate stuff. Some stuff, anything based on wordplay is, well, you're lucky if you can translate it, but it cuts things back to, of just the action being funny.
Right.
And that's interesting to me. But also I really like the French culture in this country. It's really, they're very, during the election when Stephen Harper said that in Quebec, about culture, whatever it was, making, somehow dumping on culture generally. There was this, mainly from Quebec. It was
right.
Like, whoa, you don't mess with culture. It's a lot stronger in French Canada than English Canada.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and that's changing. Mm-hmm. And it's a good that it's changing, not because, no, it's just because of that attitude that Stephen Harper had, which you can get away with in conservative English Canada. You can't get away with in conservative or liberal French Quebec. Culture is an important industry.
Absolutely.
And that's why you have people that are, being supported by it. It's because there's a sense that, you play Timmins, Ontario, and you go to the English school, there's an English school. The French school will have a theater in it.
Right.
You go to Charlottetown, the same thing. I played a lot of the French schools, so we can learn from, because the culture is so strong. I want to get more involved in that because English Canada can learn so much. Problems that CBC are having, with television, they're not getting any numbers. CBC, French CBC, Radio Canada, doesn't have that problem.
Very true, yeah.
Because when they put a sitcom on, 4 million people will watch it. We're not talking, because there's a connection between the artists and the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's a force, we can learn from that.
Yeah.
All CBC has to do is walk down the hall and ask how they do it so damn well.
People band together in a province like Quebec over their language and their culture and their history. And I'm from Nova Scotia, and I've moved here just a couple of years ago. But I've met a number of people that were originally from Atlantic Canada, and I found the community is very strong here. you know, people are very loyal to their Atlantic roots, and I've gotten. I've you know, been welcomed here by people from Atlantic Canada and from Ontario, and I have to say I really admire the strength of the Atlantic culture and how they've embraced Ontario culture as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and why the hell not, one, and two, that's why I was trying to get that lumbering song from Ontario.
Oh yeah.
I've always liked what Pete Seeger does, for instance, you know, which is basically show that you actually have a culture here, which you should be exploiting more, you know. Play around with it, do something with it, but use it, because that's a bulwark against, and it gives you a sense that it's your own, you know.
Yeah, we were hoping you'd do the Bear song tonight, but unfortunately we didn't have the nerve to shout it out.
Oh, yeah.
But great song though, we really enjoy it.
Thank you. Do shout it out, you know. I think more people might need more interaction with the audience.
Yeah. Next time we will for sure.
Next time, maybe. I'll bone up on it there. Yeah.
Okay, so the last question of the night, as always, because I'm the editor of Stir Magazine, as well as Odium here at the theatre, is how, because Stir Magazine deals with the art of living. So how do you, Lorne Elliott, define the art of living?
Yeah. God, how do I define the art of living? Well, you're going to be living anyhow, you know, until you die. And that's the cards we're dealt. So you might as well have a good time. That doesn't necessarily mean a time of hilarity and drunkenness, but a good time. You know, leave it better than you found it, and try to do some good. And you start trying to connect with people, and people start to connect back, and I don't know. It's we're going to be needing more of this sort of stuff in the coming years. I think we're in for a bit of a less money, you know, and I don't know. I don't want to say that that's necessarily a good thing, but I hope it will be. I hope it is actually something that we're going to be able to learn spiritually from. I don't mean religiously necessarily.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So the art of living will be seeing the people around you and making something out of that relationship between you and the people around you, whether it takes art or it takes, you know, good cooking, that's an art, you know, or raising food or raising family or just being together with your friends in a creative way. That's, you can't buy that, the governments can't legislate it, so let's at least pay it heed.
Yeah, good point. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Lorne Elliott.
Thank you.